Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading, on Sunday, November 10, 2024. And I hope everybody's doing well. It's raining here, so in case you hear rain in the background, that's exactly what's happening here. It's not it's not anything else except my birds also, because they're not happy that it's raining. But thank you all for joining in the chat last night. It lasted over a little over 2 hours. I tried something different in the beginning, and it was really weird. Like, I pulled up a YouTube copyright free music. So I wanted to play music at the beginning for people that were just joining in and whatever. And I played it for a while. I played 2 songs, so a total of about 6 minutes. But no one in the chat could hear it. And I could hear it, but then when I played the video back, I couldn't hear music at all. It was just very bizarre. Also, I noticed that after I played the video back last night, at least like the first 20 minutes or so, I did not see the chat replay. Maybe it takes a while for that to happen, but I didn't see it, and I haven't been back in the video to check. If for some reason it's not there, I'll have to notify YouTube, because it's not the first time it's happened. So I also was notified by David A., his YouTube channel, David A. He's been doing the testimonies and reading Dr. Robert Duncan's book, that he got a strike for a video that he posted 5 months ago. And they claimed that it was medical misinformation. I mean, it just baffles the mind. It's happened to me also. It happened to me on a video like months ago that I posted on detox. There are dozens, maybe hundreds of people on YouTube and other channels that speaking about detox, but for some reason, when a targeted person speaks about it, it's off limits. So David just wanted me to give you guys a heads up that he was in timeout for a week, or he is in timeout for a week. So I was going through, I have a folder on targeting resources. I've been just saving it since 2017. And I came across this handbook. It's actually dated August 13, 2015. So that's actually even before I realized what was happening to me, which was in 2017, even though this has been going on like a decade before that. So I'm going to read a little bit about it. This introduction. So it's a handbook for targeted individuals for reading on the internet. It's 50 pages long. It's a PDF. Okay, so introduction. What is happening while America sleeps? Targeted individuals are people who the government has decided do not have any right to live, have no constitutional rights, have no police protection, yet they are required to remain the model citizens. Now, when it says the government, it's usually because somebody nominated you, somebody who's envious and jealous, somebody who doesn't like you. That's usually the case. They want money. They want grants, funding, and stuff. So, yeah, they'll just load people on. And if you live alone, it's that much better. So, yet they require to remain model citizens. Since this program is run by the government and the police, people who carry out these attacks on their authority have no fear of being prosecuted. TIs, meaning targeted individuals, rarely know who the people are that are destroying their lives. Well, some of us know who some of them are, right? The enemy is invisible except for the stalkers who carry out psychological operations to create fear and intimidation. Well, we now know that it's my favorite Bureau of Investigation and their right-hand infra guard and the fusion centers and the Department of Homeland Security. It's a little octopus. They're all covering each other's butts and pretending they don't know what's going on. And when you FOIA request them, like when I FOIA requested the FBI, they said, oh, well, we can't confirm or deny that you're on any list in the name of national security. Like, national security? You want to talk about national security? Close the damn borders. I mean, though, that's where the threats are. There's no threat with a 60 some odd year old woman, and actually there are 70-year-old women on the watch list. Yeah, I know of an 80-year-old man who's on the list. Go figure. Anyway, TIs rarely know who the people are that are destroying their lives. The enemy is invisible except for the stalkers who carry out psychological operations to create fear and intimidation. Targeting is the prime crime because it's almost impossible to prove who is pointing microwaves at you. Well, from what I've heard from technology people, it's not impossible to prove. All forms of recording targeting are electronically suppressed. Evidence of targeting is rare or non-existent. Remember, this is from 2015. There's been new technology and more people are able to record things, and there are apps and software that are showing all kinds of things that normally would not be seen. So, again, this is from 2015, this article. A targeting protocol designed to deconstruct the life of a TI is designed for each target. Methods vary but are consistently similar enough that patterns are seen which verify that this is a systemic scheme of attack with the same weapons: directed energy, organized stalking, biological, chemical agents, and the misuse of medical technologies. TIs find themselves alone fighting an invisible enemy which, 1, is much larger and more powerful than themselves, 2, has an overwhelming technological advantage because they have every weapon available in the United States Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines, and number 3, it has the force of corrupted authority behind it. A TI finds themselves at war with the United States of America. Isn't that nutso? That's so crazy. And they call us crazy. It's because it's run by psychopaths. The first object of harassment is to remove the TI from their support systems, which would be 1, their source of income, and 2, their family and emotional support. Their credibility is destroyed by labeling them a mental patient or a criminal. Persistent torture and microwave energy alters the physiology of the brain, changing the ability to make decisions. Jobless immigrants have been given jobs sitting on rooftops in America, pointing directed energy weapons at sleeping Americans. Wow. Do you think that's why they're letting more in? Plausible deniability. The effects of microwave heating are disabling. Radio frequency directed energy used as a weapon, heating up the body, distorting brain function, memory loss, thought control, and disorientation are a few of the effects. Bio-effect of selected non-lethal weapons, the U.S. Army. So that is taken from that publication. The publication is, and for educational purposes only, it was published by the U.S. Army. Most non-lethal effects of the electromagnetic radiation are due to leakage of calcium from cell membranes, hormone and enzyme systems. Long-term exposure to radiation, whether ionizing or non-ionizing, is harmful. Radiation opens the junction barriers that protects us from toxins in the environment, such as the blood-brain barrier, which leads to the unaliving of neurons and can result in early dementia and Alzheimer's. The goal is to degrade a person's body so that they're vulnerable to further attacks, which brings about their unaliving. And this is from a publication, The Biological... Oh, wow. They just deleted it. Wait 1 second. It just disappeared from my screen. I kid you not. Oh, wait, here it is. The Biological Effects of Weak Electromagnetic Fields, Problems and Solutions by Andrew Goldsworthy, March 2012. 2012. Why war on the citizens? If you were at war, wouldn't it be nice if your enemy just unalived themselves to save you the trouble? Is America at war? Yes. It's attacked its own people and slaughtered about 3,500 on, you know that date. You know, that September. You know that date. In the aftermath in 2001, The attacks, the federal state governments embarked on a far-ranging effort to detect and defend against potential T threats. Recommendations for fusion centers. Now, again, this is old, 2015. It's saying that there are 72 fusion centers active in the U.S. that pose serious risks to civil liberties. There are 80, actually. The radiation and stalking programs are staged and run through these centers, which is why we need to get rid of the fusion centers. The Constitutional Project seeks to reform the nation's broken criminal justice system and to strengthen the rule of law. The torture, radiation, stalking of people the government thinks of as T's and crimmies, you know, cops and mops and tops, and although they have not been found guilty of any crime, is repairing the criminal justice system. And then you can go see the Justice Department website and targeted individuals breakthrough. It's a fusion center abusing TIs exposed. Now, I haven't read this. I'm just reading it now. So I'm going to see if I can locate this document. It's dated May 18, 2015. So this is an article called Targeted Individuals Breakthrough, Fusion Centers Abusing TIs Exposed. Monday, May 18, 2015. The new kind of justice eliminates due process and trials completely, eliminating the right the person has to defend themselves. It also creates double jeopardy because TIs are subject to judicial law. So while we're subject to the law, we're not provided the opportunity to defend ourselves in the law. The federal program implants TIs with tracking and pain delivery systems and sentences them to a life of torture and early unaliving, but never accuses them of a crime. If this happens to anyone, it can happen to you. And if a TI fights back with lawsuits or exposes their torture publicly, they are unalived and their passing is documented as natural or suicide. Well, I'm going to just tell you for the record, folks, there ain't nothing natural about what's happening, and I would never take my own life. Never. I don't smoke, drink, or do drugs. I don't even take an aspirin. I've been healthy my whole life. I have good DNA. My family history, my grandmother lived to her 90s. I've got another grandmother that lived to her 90s. My mother would have lived to her 90s if they didn't unalive her at 83 years old. So yes, so we have longevity in our family, and we're all healthy. There is actually no disease in our family. Zero. So if a TI fights back with lawsuits or exposes their torture publicly, they are unalived and their death is documented as natural. That's not going to happen here, guys. You can't say it's natural, because I'll tell you right now, I have grooves now. Grooves, indentations in my skull that wasn't there before. I have slices behind both of my ears from being implanted more recently, and I have documented every month that they have done it again. And there are scars behind my ears. And I have documented the implantation in another place of my body. And the TSA even found it for me. Thank you, TSA. I had no shoes or socks on, and they kept pulling me over, saying, "You've got something over there." I said, "No, I don't." But it was there. So if a TI fights back, they will have an untimely passing. But most people are unaware that this torture and death is happening now because it's so well covered up. Even if events do not upset society, everything proceeds as usual. Their slogan is, "Proceed slowly." Yuri Bezmenov, who defected from Russia in 1984, said, quote, "The U.S. will not be overthrown by the use of weapons, but by a slow process of propaganda designed to change the American way of thinking about life, politics, and society and the world." He spoke of useful idiots who would be disposed of once their goals had been achieved. You know who those useful idiots are, right? It's the gang stalkers. You know, it's the mops, wops, cops, lops, and pops. Oh, and yeah, the wops. You know, the witches on patrol. criminals on patrol, the losers on patrol, the morons on patrol, the predators on patrol, and the witches on patrol. I'm not going to be able to read this other portion here because it's about a woman named Susan Watkins. She was found in her closet March 2014. She was a legal secretary involved in a court case in Missouri as a targeted person. She was attacked with a directed energy weapon, and she was on the legal committee of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance, FFCHS. Those who knew Susan agreed that she was very interested in living, that she would never have done this to herself. She notified this organization a few days before her passing that she felt like her life was in danger. Some TIs are gassed in their beds with chemicals and pesticides from spray cans or tanks. Some are sprayed by nurses in assisted living facilities or hospitals. I wonder if that's what they did to my mother to silence her when I had received a call from her. And she sounded just fine, waiting to go home. And then I didn't hear from her for 3 days. Every time I called, they kept telling me, oh, she's asleep. It's like, what are you kidding? My mother doesn't sleep during the day. They knocked her out. One 83-year-old TI in Irving, Texas, was blinded by the chemicals sprayed on her while she was sleeping. And then they stole her car and kicked her dog to unaliving. The person who kept doing this to her was a man who identified himself as Juan Sanchez on a videotape recording. She had 2 license plate numbers, even a payroll stub that was accidentally dropped in her driveway, and the Irving, Texas police would not help her. However, they did give her a free ride to the mental hospital 4 times. The TI was convinced that the police operated and protected a drug-making delivery business. The vehicle theft was an abandoned vehicle operation. I'm probably not going to be able to read the rest of this. The TI left her home of 50 years in Texas and moved to Oklahoma, but the torture followed her. An automated system sprayed powdery chemicals into both her homes. I have that. They sprayed powdery stuff in both of my chicken coops and in my cat's building. She was attacked by body shocks, vibrations, and frequencies that made her incontinent. She talked about this to her home health care worker, and the state put her in a mental care where she's now medicated by a court order. Is this unbelievable? The state now gets her pension and Social Security. She had $500,000 in assets, and now she lives in an assisted living facility, harassed and drugged every day. Welcome to the USA. Who's doing these things? 178 countries are implementing the global agenda of the United Nations. The people who consider these things to be illegal are now called constitutionalists. They believe in the old things like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Most people are totally unaware of the radical changes in the justice system using military strategy and terminology instead of legal remedies. The new military regime includes pre-crime strategy where they harass people for crimes that they might commit sometime in the future. Yeah, because they're programming you to do that. Under the Constitution, people have a right to a trial by their peers. And in the present program of terror, no one is entitled to a trial. There's only unlimited... I just can't say the rest of it. So we will continue to improve law enforcement capability, the greater and more effective collection and reporting of intelligence without encroaching on the privacy and civil liberties of America. So anyway, there's a lot more in here. It's 50 pages long. I'm not going to read any more about this because Oh, how about this? What's happening to target individuals? They choose a target. You may be a T and not even know it. A T is placed on the watch list, and an individual is given a torture protocol. It's designed just for them. There's no distinction between a bomb-carrying T or an ordinary citizen. You can get targeted just by having knowledge of a crime of others, especially police, firemen, medics, government officials. You may be involved in politics, take a stand on subjects important to you, or simply have the wrong bumper sticker. Targets may become known for a comment on the internet. You may be a devout Christian, unchangeable in your faith. You may have committed a misdemeanor, but the legal remedies are ignored in favor of this. Okay, so TIs are number 1, living alone. Number 2, whistleblowers. Number 3, incidental witnesses of police crime. 4, disabled or on Social Security. 5, single. 6, women. 7, artists or musicians. 8, free thinkers. You can become a TI by helping a TI, or if someone in your family is a TI. And I know that somebody in my family is a TI. A TI may be handicapped, epileptic, elderly, and need constant care. The elderly have no value anymore. And thanks to Obamacare, Britain and Canada now have unaliving panels and decide when to medicate or withhold food. In Britain, they have a tick list to tally whether or not you qualify. And there, old age has become a crime. If you saw a copper selling drugs, what would you do? Somebody said the answer is, I'd call 911. But then what would happen is you get put on the watch list for calling and reporting police crime. They see things that they know are wrong, such as police running human trafficking or kiddo stuff. Instead of protecting the people, they're protecting their own. I can't read the rest of it. There's not one police department in America who does not know about the chemicals, biological radiation, and stalking. There is not one, and this is back in 2015, there is not one police department in the USA that doesn't know about this. And back then, between 80 to 86% participate in the cops' program stalking. They have directed energy devices in their squad cars and arrange for vehicles with radiation devices to be parked outside the homes of TIs or in public places. Most TIs have frequency-emitting transceivers and location systems installed in their homes and vehicles. And even if they have sensors in chairs and couches and car seats that emit frequencies that cause restless leg symptoms, diarrhea, and arthritic-like symptoms in the joints. Oh goodness. You know what? I'm not going to read the rest of this. Anybody that wants a copy of this, just email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. It's 50 pages long with diagrams. And it's back from 2015. You actually might be able to find it online. I'll read it. It's called Handbook for Targeted Individuals for Reading on Internet 2.pdf. So it's 8. You know what? I will place the title in the description section for you guys. So anyway, this is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And just remember that David A., he got a no from TheyTube for a video he posted 5 months ago. 5 months ago. So just to give you guys a heads up.